Hi, I'm Mr. Gordon, and we're going to be looking at collecting terms again, but this time we're going to be introducing negative numbers as well, and negative terms. Let's just first remind ourselves what our terms are. So these are the different kinds of terms that we have available to us. We call these terms. We start with the small square, which we're calling 1. Then we have x, that has a width of x, and a height of 1. 1 times x makes x. And then we have x squared. It has a width of x and it has a height also of x. So we have x squared. So these are the terms that we introduced in the last lesson. Now, every number in maths has an evil twin. They battle to death, they annihilate each other, they add together to 0. These are called additive inverses. So we have additive inverses. As in additive, when we add them, inverse, their opposite, they're going to add to 0. So our 1 will have an additive inverse, which we're going to show as a red square with a line through it, and that is negative 1. So if we see a positive 1 and a negative 1 together, they're going to add together, going to annihilate, battle to the death, and make 0. Then we have x, so we're going to have something in the same shape as x, but this time we have the negative version, which is negative x. Again, if we see these two together, they're going to add together to make 0. Then we have the same for x squared as well. We have our negative x squared. So an x squared and a negative x squared come together to make 0. If you add an x and a negative x squared, they can't go together. They're different kinds of things. Okay, so they're only going to go together if they're the same kind of thing, the same term. So we're going to start using these to answer some questions. So the first question we've got 1 add negative 1. We can see they're the same as each other, but 1 is the inverse of the other one. So they're going to add together to make 0. Pause the video, have a go at this one. This time we have plus 2, positive 2, 2, and a negative 1. We can see that negative 1 and one of those are going to clash together, annihilate each other. These two are going to add to 0, which just leaves us with one positive 1 left. So that's going to be 1. This time we have 2 positive 1s and we've got 3 negative 1s. Now we could write that if we wanted to as 2 add negative 3, or we could write it as 2 minus 3. If we wanted to use a number line, we could start at 2 on the number line. On our number line, when we go to the right, we're going positive, and when we're taking away, we're going to the left. So 2 take away 3, 1, 2, 3 into negative, because we're taking away that 3. So that's going to be 1, 0, minus 1. So we get to minus 1. So that's how we could do it on a number line. Alternatively, we could look up here, we've got, well, those two are going to cancel each other out. These two are going to add to 0, which leaves us just with this 1, negative 1 left. So that would be negative 1, because we're just left with one of these negative 1s. Have a go at the other one. So this time, we have 3 negatives. These two can cancel each other out, and we're left with just 2 negative 1s. So we're left with negative 2. I'm going to actually add another block to this one. So this time we have 2 positive x's and 1 negative x. So that negative x and the positive x, they add together to make 0. So this one and this one add together to make 0. We're left with 1x plus 1. So we're left with x plus 1. These two have cancelled each other out. They've added to 0. Have a go at this one. This time we have these two are going to cancel, the x and the negative x, and the 1 and the negative 1 are going to cancel. So they're going to add together to make 0. Okay, here, let's start with the x terms. We've got a positive x and 2 negative x. 1 take away 2 is negative 1. We can see these cancel each other out, and we're left with a negative x. We also have 4 negative 1s. 4 negative 1s. The answer is minus x minus 4. Have a go at this one. This time, again, starting with the x's, we've got 3 positive x's and 2 negative x's. 2 of those are going to add together with these 2 to make 0, leaving us with just 1 x. Then when we look at the constants, the ones, we've got 2 positive ones, no negative ones, so x plus 2. Now we've got some x squareds into the game as well. We've got 2x squared and a negative x squared. 2 of those add together to make 0, leaving us just with 1x squared. Now we don't write 1x squared, we just write x squared. If we've got 1 of something, we just write the thing. We don't write the 1 in front of it. So we've got 1x squared, these 2 cancelled. Then we've got 2x minus x. Those cancel, leaving us with 1x, which we just write as x. Now we have 2, take away 5. Again, those 2 you could pair with these 2 to make 0, leaving us with 3 negative ones. So that's 3 negative ones, which is minus 3. X squared plus x minus 3. Have a go at this one. This time we have these 2 x squareds. They can add together to make 0, leaving us with 1 negative x squared. We've got 2 positive x's and 1 negative x. They're going to add together to make 1 positive x. And we've got 2 positive 1's, 3 negative 1's. So we're left with negative 1. So we've got minus x squared plus x minus 1. So finally, we're dealing without using the blocks this time. So this time we've just written the terms. I've written some bigger numbers this time that I couldn't really do so easily when I was using the blocks. So let's have a look at these. And what we do when we're dealing with this is we're finding, again, terms which are similar to each other, and we're pairing them up with each other. We're adding them together. So let's start with the highest power of x. So these negative 3x squared here. Are there any other x squareds? No. So we've just got negative 3x squared. So we're going to write that at the front, negative 3x squared. Now I'm going to use a different colour. We're going to go down to just the x's. So we've got positive 6x and we've got positive 2x there. So I'm finding terms that are the same kind of terms. So we've got the x squareds, we've got the x's, and then at the end we've got the units as well. We've got these constant terms. So we've got 6x plus 2x, which makes 8x. Now we're going to deal with these units, these constant terms. I'm saying constant because they're not variable. If you remember, these are our variables. So x, that's a variable or an unknown. Unknown like the X factor, X-Men, X-ray, it's unknown. But when we just have a number like 3, that's our constant. So something that doesn't change, something that doesn't vary, it's constant. So we've got 10 minus 5, which is positive 5. So there's our answer for that one. You're about to have a go at this one. Note that this time, instead of using X, we're using A instead. Doesn't make any difference. As long as the letter is the same in all of them, you're still doing the same thing. So what we should have done here is we start with, again, we're going to start with the squared terms. In this case, I put 3 of them in there. So we've got 4, add 2, that makes 6a squared minus 3a squared. So 6 of something minus 3 of something, that leaves us with 3 of something. In this case, 3a squared. When we look at the next kind of term, we've got minus 6a, but there's nothing else to go with that. So we're just going to write minus 6a. So we've been looking at collecting terms and simplifying expressions in algebra with negative numbers this time. Hope it was helpful.